lot of the anime community, fall is usually the season where all the best anime come out. That's where the battleground for what is supposed to be anime of the year, what the big hitters are, all duke it out in a bid to get everybody in the anime community's attention. Now I will say, I have no clue what happened this year, but yeah, that's not exactly happening right now. Every other season this year actually had some pretty big bangers, with winter and summer having a lot of the big IPs, and spring, while not having as many big IPs, at least had a mixture of really good IPs and some new ones that came out that actually made quite a lot of waves. But fall has some, but it's such a bland season looking across everything. I mean, dare I say, this might be one of the blandest seasons of anime we've actually gotten in quite a long time. That doesn't mean that there won't be any hidden gems, and it doesn't mean that there won't be some surprises that we can search through the entirety of the fall 2025 season. And of course, it's your boy, and I do this for some reason because I'm a maniac. I went through the entirety of everything that's coming out in the fall season, when I'm going to give you my watch list and what I plan on watching and potentially recommending for fall of 2025. So as usual, let me stop my rambling and let's jump into this godforsaken list. We are getting the third season of One Punch Man, an anime that has been long overdue for its newest season, and an anime that has had a lot of anticipation going into it, somewhat. And you know what, even saying that is a bit of an overstatement, because I can tell you for certain that I'm very, very, very worried for this third season. Now, if you're not clued in or locked into everything that's been happening with One Punch Man since the first season and everything between it, we all know about the first season of One Punch Man. That season is the thing that put it on the map. It blew all of us away. It was a quality that was incomprehensible at the time, and it was just a damn good season all around. Season 2 didn't have that much flair, but I and a lot of other people also in the anime community are staunch defenders of, yes, it took a significant downgrade, and it is a lesser product because of it. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. In fact, there are a lot of good qualities, such as character development, the actual story of Saitama, and the actual world and the interactions around it that are actually good, and still make it a really good product to watch. But now, we're in the third season, and with all the talks of the director, who apparently hasn't really worked on any shonen projects, has done romance, and I think worked on some naughty projects. Don't take my word for that. I couldn't really find that anywhere, but that's what's been said. I don't know if that's the case. Alongside that, the lack of really seeing anything animated. We got a few stuff, as you see from the trailers on here, but there's nothing that has really concretely told us what the real quality of the show is going to be. Yeah, so to say that my anticipation and my hope for One Punch Man Season 3 coming back in full swing and trying to make a stronger impact in the community than it once did is waning. And even the idea of it just staying to the bog standard that Season 2 was able to reach is even less. I hope I'm wrong. I really am. Because One Punch Man is a property that deserves way more love for that, for how good it actually is. It's a fun show that does the whole meta critique in the shonen genre that I really love. And the fact that it's getting fumbled like this, it kinda sucks. So I do want to go in watching it, and I hope that by the time the season ends and we have to go into 2026, I don't have to make a bad review for One Punch Man Season 3. I will say, I have had my gripes with My Hero Academia. There are a lot of things that I like that I think it really excels at, and there are a lot of things that I don't like that I think it's abysmal at. I go back and forth with the show all the time. But to say that it doesn't at least have some place in history in my watch list of anime or any other watch list of anime, or the fact that it doesn't have some impact within the shonen genre, is just lying to yourself. So knowing that this is going to be the final season of My Hero Academia, yeah, that does actually make me a bit somber. I mean, obviously we all saw the mangas for stuff like My Hero Academia, Demon Slayer, and Jujutsu Kaisen already end. But seeing all of the endings for the anime coming really soon, with Demon Slayer having its ending arc happening right now, and us finally getting that Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 and getting the whole roadmap of how that's going to happen, and seeing My Hero Academia have its final season, yeah, it's kind of somber. Like, for context, when the first season for My Hero Academia came out, my little cousin, who I'm super close with, was in elementary school. And just this past September, we just sent him off to college, which is insane to think about that time lapse. Right now, I'm left off on season 5, so I don't know if I'm going to be watching it soon, but seeing that it's the final season and that this is kind of being all wrapped up, does make me want to go back and finish the series and maybe make a whole retrospective video on just my time with it. Because hey, again, I might go back and forth on it when it comes to My Hero Academia, but I would be lying if I didn't say I have some fun memories of it. So I know I said previously that there's not much anime to go ahead and talk about. And apart from the other two that, have been talked about somewhat, given like positives and other negative stuff, one anime I actually haven't seen many people talk about is Spy X Family. Season 3 is coming around the corner and the movie has positive reviews. Season 2 has positive reviews. So I'm kind of surprised that I'm not seeing more fanfare around this. Now, to my knowledge, I don't think Spy X Family has any issues currently with either its manga or anything it's really doing. I just think personally that Spy X Family has become that anime where everyone kind of universally thinks that it's either pretty good or it's pretty fine. There aren't many detractors from it from what I see, so it's just one of those anime where it just kind of slides right into the, yeah, it's fine, and it exists, and it kind of goes on. But I guess that also says a lot when an anime as pretty positive as Spy X Family is pretty much getting overshadowed by anime like One Punch Man that's kind of riddled in issues and controversies. I will also admit maybe it's just an issue of me not looking at the right places. Of course, social media and all that's an algorithm and shows you when you want to show, and I don't hate Spy X Family, I actually quite like it, but I don't see a lot of it on my social media, so it could be an issue of that. I will say, however, after becoming a Vtuber properly, my timeline has been filled with nothing other than that shit, so it's kind of hard to see anime shit from time to time. But I am excited to watch the 3rd season of Spy X Family. I still need to watch the movie, which I'll watch in the next couple weeks at the time of the recording for this video, and by that time, I'll be all caught up, and I'll be able to go ahead and do all that. Now, if I'm going to be transparent about everything, the anime My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me is one of those shows I'm putting on this list just kind of out of necessity and the fact that there's some mutuals of mine that I like the opinions of and I respect the opinions of that are kind of excited for this, and it seems like it might have potential to be something good. This is not an anime that I personally would gravitate more towards. It kind of feels like harem slap a little bit, and maybe I'm wrong about that. I could 100% be wrong, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not going in with too much optimism for this one. And like I said before, the only reason this is even on here, on top of everything else I've just said, is the fact that the season is so kind of dry. But hey, I do go in things with an open mind. Yes, I may be a little bit critical and a little bit more skeptical when it comes to an anime like this, but I do go with an open mind because I genuinely don't know what this is about away from the trailers and the synopsis. And you know what? There's a lot of times where I can read a premise of something and I can like it, and I end up completely hating the entire anime, and vice versa. So I gotta keep an open mind as always, so who knows? For all I know, this could impress me, and it could be anime of the season, which, again, I don't think it will, but I have been wrong before. Oh man, I know for a fact I'm going to have so much fun with this anime. May I ask for one more thing, is the type of anime that is going to flourish in a very non-top heavy season like fall 2025. Originally, I thought this anime was going to lean more into the premise of the anime that came out during spring of 2025 called Two Perfect Saints. And it kinda is, but it's leaning more into the revenge aspect that the sister character has. And that was my favorite part of that anime, so this is just that storyline made to a whole anime. At least what it seems, and that seems cool. I mean, the whole idea for the revenge plot seems actually really cool. The main character seems like a badass. Like, there's a scene where she puts on a glove and she swings at somebody. I don't even know the context of who it is. It's just the way that was set up is cool. And the anime actually looks pretty for what it is. So, I have hope for this one. This one is one of the few that might actually pop out and be a surprise hit for the season, which I'm very excited for. If anything, at the very least, I would just like some badass moment and some badass beatdowns from this female character lead. If you don't give me anything else from like not great animation or not the great story, at least give me something fun. And in this season, with this amount of nothing that's coming out, you can thrive. You can thrive, you can make yourself a name. But of course, obviously, I want the best. So, you know, you should also give me the good animation and the good story as well, so I can be happy. Please be good. Please for the love of God, be good. You know, if I'm going as far as to put something like this on my list, then I have to admit at some point that I have a soft spot for the isekai genre. I just hate the fact that I have to admit that, because 98% of what comes out in that genre is just complete slop. But of course, if you haven't heard, Isekai Quartet is this weird little comedy crossover isekai show that actually gets some of the more popular IPs in isekai and puts them in a classroom setting. Because of course it has to be a classroom setting. Season 1 started us off with the isekais of Tanya the Evil, Re:Zero, Konosuba, and Overlord. Season 2 added the Shield Hero and the Cautious Hero, and Season 3 plans on adding Eminence of Shadow. And I will admit, this does look like low, baity, non-great animation slop that sometimes gets buried within everything and gets chugged out. But in terms of Isekai Quartet, I'm not gonna lie, the 2 seasons I have, I'm not going to praise them as masterpieces, but I did enjoy them. I will admit the comedy for Isekai Quartet can be a little, you know, hit or miss at times, but the big reason why I like watching it, because it's one of those anime that's the biggest what-if scenarios, and it's just fun to see that. It's fun to see Overlord characters interact with Re:Zero characters, or Shield Hero characters interacting with Konosuba characters. It's just a nice little fantasy fanfic idea that has no bearing on anything else, and it's just fun to enjoy. I mean, I will also say it helps that some of my favorite isekais are in fact in this show, with Re:Zero, Tanya the Evil, Shield Hero, and Konosuba all being pretty much over half of the actual cast of isekai people. But to be fair, that is what is being marketed towards for the fans of those isekai, and that's what I also would recommend. If you are a fan of at least 2 of these isekai that are in this show, then you're gonna have a fun time, because you get those little interactions from 2 shows that you actually like, which is the big reason why I watch it. So, you know, this show's obviously not for everyone. It's on my watch list because I like 4 of the shows on here, but if it's not for you, it's not for you. My Awkward Senpai is another anime I don't think I would have picked in a more heavier, dense IP season, but I will say that the premise of itself is pretty cute. Don't get me wrong, it is in fact generic as shit, and I'm not gonna go ahead and not say that it's not, but, you know, sometimes it's fine to be generic. Just because something has a pretty typical, tropey, generic story doesn't mean you can't do something with it. And I will admit, I do like the little, you know, clumsy, silly guy and serious girl that gets flustered by the clumsy, silly guy. It's cute, it's adorable, and you know what? I can vibe with it a little bit. I am also not going to sit there and ignore the fact that I have been craving for adult romance after watching My Happy Marriage, Naolu Generic Romance, and just vibing with the entire thing. I have been craving more and more adult romance because, oh, it just unlocked something within me. Now, is this gonna scratch the itch, as My Happy Marriage is more of a take of how somebody that comes from a disloving family is put into a weird situation that ends up working for them in the long run, and now Generic Romance, all about having to pass your grief and not staying in the same place all over again as you go through the cycle of going through pain of trying to grow as a person? I don't think so, but it's adults being adults and it's adults going through romance, and you know what? In a world where we have so many damn high school anime, I'm willing to give this a shot. And you know what, my Awkward Senpai? You got your shot. You're in a season where there's not that many big things coming out, and forgive me if I keep repeating that. It's just a really, really bland season, but you got your shot. Impress me, impress the audience, impress the community, and maybe you might just be talked about. I remember when Sanda was getting first announced that it was actually getting an anime adaptation, and it seemed like there was a lot of people that were actually pretty excited that this story was finally getting an anime. So to see it so low on the list, and to see it get kind of not talked about, is weird. especially given the fact that Sanda actually is one of the more unique stories coming out this season. I mean, the animation looks outstanding and unique. The story looks weird as shit, which I love. It looks intense. Some of the fight scenes that they have look awesome, and it seems like it might actually go into a darker territory in a sense sometimes. Like, this is an anime I feel like we should be talking a lot more about, but it seems like not many people are even paying attention to it. I don't know why that is, or I don't know if we're all just burnt from the previous season, but Sanda needs way more love. Sanda needs extremely more love. For an anime like that to not get anything, to not get any attention or talk about or wherewithal, I think is a crying shame, and more people need to be paying attention to this show. I mean, hell, with the way I'm talking about it, you already know that this anime is definitely going to be put somewhere in the weekly watch section of the watch list. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. This looks awesome, and hell, honestly, this might be anime of the season and might have a good running for some potential anime of the year awards. Maybe not actual anime of the year, because that's already kind of a stats field. But who knows, maybe this might surprise me. The Monster That Wants to Eat Me has a very fun premise to play with. I like the idea that it seems like two people that may have somewhat of a complex relationship with, well, it is going to be a complex relationship. One person is trying to eat the other person, and one person trying to reconcile that at some point they're going to get eaten by said person. But there's a lot of things that you can play with this. You can explore the mental anguish of the girl who's going to be eaten and how that's affecting her everyday life, and how that's basically a ticking time bomb, and what that's doing with her relationships like friends and family. You got the girl who's going to do the eating, who has to protect this girl. Does that make her get closer to the girl she's gonna eat? Does that change her perspective? What type of monster she's gonna go against? Why does she want to eat the girl? You can explore the relationship. Does the girl that's going to be eaten have the weird Stockholm syndrome due to the fact that the girl who is going to do the eating is saving her? Does she have a weird sycophant love by the end of it? Or does she resentment? Are they gonna get in a fight? Are they gonna fall in love? I have no clue, but there's so many cool things that you can explore with this. And honestly, I am very glad that I'm getting this, because this is going to slot right into the desire that I have for more stuff like the Summer Hikaru Dine. Because getting from that to this is interesting, which is also funny because it feels like we're going into a horror-esque thing to a horror GL thing. Hey, I fuck with it, man, if I'm being honest with you. I can't wait for it. I'm excited for it. I'm ready to have so much fun with this anime. It's going to be such a head fuck. And I like a good head fuck. Wait, whoa, hold on a minute. Yano-Kun's Ordinary Days just seemed like the most wholesome bait anime that I've seen in a minute. And honestly, I am so down for that. I would be lying if I didn't say I felt like there was a little bit of maybe some deeper stuff happening with that, but honestly, the art direction looks really cool. The main character is quite adorable. Everyone just seems like they just want to help this clumsy, quirky guy who constantly gets hurt and wants to make sure that he stops getting hurt. But he also has such a positive attitude with everything. It's one of those like, oh, I want to protect you, baby boy. You are such an adorable part of society. You need to be protected. Like, how do you hate that? You can't hate that because it's too precious to hate. And honestly, I'm glad it's coming out this season so I can properly enjoy it for the weekly watch, because yeah, I need a little bit good of wholesomeness. I need a little bit of wholesomeness in my life. So, you know, we're gonna pick this up, put this in the weekly watch, and it's gonna be fun as shit, because it's gonna look cute as shit, and it looks fun as shit, it looks wholesome as shit. This looks like good shit. But no, in all seriousness, I do like the fact that this has some pretty cool vibes to it, and I do really vibe with the whole actual style of the anime and whatnot. So hopefully this does a lot of good things. This is just Among Us. This is just Among Us. This is just fucking Among Us. This is anime Among Us. Oh, you don't believe me? You think I'm being a little exaggerated? You think I'm being a little bit of a goofball, a little bit of a meme, a little bit of a brain rot kid? Even though I'm 27? Doesn't matter? All right, let me read you the description that's on Mal, and let me just show you. Let's walk and talk. Can you get up? The Gnosis line. Pretending to be human, they'll get in close, trick and deceive, and then eradicate each person in the vicinity from the universe, one victim at a time. The crew of a drifting spaceship facing off against the mysterious and deadly threat known as the Gnosia, having no idea who among them is really the enemy. Formulate a desperate plan for survival. The most suspicious among them will be put into a cold sleep, one by one, in an effort to completely rid of the ship of the Gnosia. However, it is almost impossible to tell whether each person put into cold sleep was really Gnosia, or simply a poor unfortunate scapegoat, sacrificed by the Gnosia for their own survival. Can the human emerge victorious, or is mankind doomed? Sorry, I usually give a more elaborate discussion like I have this entire video, and I usually talk about how, like, hey, the animation doesn't look very good, but it also seems like it could be a pretty suspenseful anime, and the art direction, while it's not great, some of the character designs might be kind of cool, and it might be a cool story to be told, and I also am a sci-fi nerd, so I'm kind of vibing with the sci-fi type, but I can't get out of my mind that this is just anime Among Us! Like, do you not understand? We got anime Among Us before GTA 6! And you're probably sitting there and thinking, oh, you're just exaggerating. That's not what it is. That's not what it is at all. You're just blowing it out of proportion. Motherfucker, I just read you the description, front and back, word for word, bar for bar, dead ass. It's just anime Among Us. Listen, this is really reductive. Apart from the art style, which honestly, I can go back and forth on it. I'm not a big fan of the CGI and the way that it is, but the actual like character designs and how it looks like, I actually kind of like. I don't know, this is a weird thing, but take my shit with a massive grain of salt, okay? I kind of fuck with Momentary Lily, which, if you've looked at that art style, is fucking abysmal, and I defended Blue Lock and Sakamoto Day, so I don't know. And I pray to God, that this is actually a good anime, or at least has some good qualities, because if it doesn't, it ends up being dog shit, and there's nothing really good that I can latch onto it, I will, in fact, review this anime and call it Gnosia, the anime Among Us. And you know what's upsetting? It's gonna get hella clicks too. It will get hella clicks. It will be my biggest video, and I will be upset. Look, either way, I'm going to watch it. There is actually some elements from the memes and stuff that I do actually latch onto that does make me a bit curious for it. I just can't get the meme out of my head. So before I waste any more of you and ours and my time, let's move on. Tizote in the Ramune bottle will have no middle ground. I predict that either A, I will actually find this anime extremely impressive and it will be one of my top anime for this season, or 2, this anime will piss me off so much that I will be unfathomably, I will be ridiculously mad at this anime. Listen, on one hand, when you read the description of it, it actually seems like it's a cool anime. It's somewhat built like a harem anime that seems like it's spinning it over its head, using the main character who already has somewhat of an established harem and already has somewhat of the popularity that harem characters will get towards the end of their series, only to be challenged by someone who doesn't like him, and now he has to balance trying to keep this person happy while also balancing his reputation. I like that. That is actually a genuinely interesting premise that I'm willing to give a chance. But then you go and look in the trailers and you just see how just mishmashed everything is, and the whole element for the person that doesn't like him doesn't seem like it's gonna be the main focus as much, and if focus is more on the actual relationships and we only get a couple of scenes of the actual person, it worries me a little bit. Now I will admit, I will give a little bit of grace. Obviously with a show like this, you don't want to show all your cards and you don't want to go ahead and tell the secrets. So they probably focused a lot on the romance aspect of it and showed a little bit of the actual turmoil that will happen with said character that hates the main character because they want to keep it a secret. And if that's the case, alright, that's fine. I can understand that marketing tactic of being a little interested, right? Give you a little hook. I think I personally would need a little bit more, but I also will say that the premise already kind of hooked me. But just the way the trailers were set up just worried me a tad bit. A little tad bit too much to where I am going to come in with an open mind, as I usually do, but I am going to be wary, and maybe a slight more critical than I usually am. With that being said though, I do hope that this show has the ability to impress. Because if it does, and it executes on its plan well, this is going to be a damn good watch. Inexpressive Kashiwanda and Expressive Oota, I'm not saying that name again, is an anime that, again, I wouldn't have picked it up if it wasn't for a season like this. It looks kind of cute. It looks fine. I thought it was going to be a little bit more on the slight not cuter side, especially with Kashiwanda, who is the inexpressive character for this show, where I thought she was going to act more like a kudere, where she has no real emotion and no actual, facial expressions. But that's not really the case. Her actions are a bit more silly. It's just her face that is inexpressive, which that plays into way more things, and you can do way more actions, way more gags, and way more scenes with that. But I also will say that does lend itself to being not as deeply explorative as other shows, which is fine. Again, I'm always up for a little bit of cuteness, and honestly, both of the pairings are adorable. I like the little interaction that they have, and they seem like to have this weird connection of, introvert, extrovert type stuff, which I'm always here for. Sorry, I wish I had more to say about this, but honestly, right now, all I can hope for is that it's just a kind of cute and adorable show. I don't know how I feel about this. This looks fun. Okay, I am being a little bit extra. This anime doesn't look completely fucked. It looks kind of fucked. I will say, on one hand though, I do like the premise of a dude just going to the dance club in order to try to be more expressive. Again, we're probably gonna get some banger music, we're probably gonna get some good moments, and honestly, I like the whole aesthetic that the whole show has. At least on the cultural, character side. Sort of, kind of. It's a little complicated to explain. When it comes to, the street clothing and stuff that they wear because they're doing, the breakdancing stuff, yeah, it actually looks kind of cool. It actually looks kind of awesome. But then you get into the actual animation and proper art direction for some of this stuff, and I don't know, it doesn't look, I'm a little iffy on it. The general animation for itself actually is, fairly fine. The only issue that I have is that a lot of the female characters seem to have that early 2000s eye positioning, which that fucked with me. I didn't know we were doing that still, but hey, it's nostalgic feeling at the very least. But then we get to the actual dancing that the whole show actually revolves around. And I'm going to be honest, it looks kind of weird. It looks kind of weird. Now, we don't get a lot of time with the actual animation for a lot of the dancing. And a lot of it does look like CGI, and, maybe not very well applied CGI, but it does look very CGI, as the characters who do some of the dancing definitely stand out a lot. But I would be remiss to not say that the first thought that came into my mind when I saw some of the dancing scenes was, why does this look like Twin Hina-Hima? Now, I usually don't do this, but I'm not gonna really explain what Twins Hina-Hima is. Not gonna lie, if you're looking at this video, you probably have a smartphone or a computer that you're at right now, you can go ahead and Google that, because I don't want to throw any allegation at the show. I don't think that the show is doing what Twins Hina-Hima did at all, whatsoever. But I will say that it was almost as jarring as that. So if anything, Wandance isn't even a show that I want to watch, because I'm gonna assume it's gonna be either good or it's going to be bad. Wandance is gonna be a show I put on here because I want to experience whatever this show is, because it has an interesting premise, and I think it actually could do good. And hey, I know for a fact if it's gonna be a dance show, then we're gonna probably get some banger music. But the whole aesthetic at the show is going to interest me, and I'm kind of curious how this is going to feel and look watching it in a proper aspect. I'm a curious man, and my curiosity needs to be explored. Okay, I'm just gonna be straight up honest. I thought Little Miss Vampire Can't Suck Right straight up sounded like an ecchi. Now, when I went to properly look, there wasn't a proper ecchi tag. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this is just a little bit more of the wholesome, potential romance comedy type stuff. And I will admit, exploring this story of a vampire who actually can't suck blood does sound kind of adorable and kind of fun, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's gonna be a drop dead, oh my god, I'm bawling, or I'm so invested in the love interest type story. But, seeing a vampire trying to learn how to actually be a vampire and try to suck blood into shenanigans that will surround it, yeah, I think you can get a couple goofs and gaffs, a little bit of chuckles out of there, and something that could be, you know, somewhat fun. I don't know if I should be expecting more, because this is one of those anime as well, when it actually got announced, I saw some people talking around about it and saying, oh man, this is going to be like such a fun show to watch. So maybe there's some more to it. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm putting my expectations very low because I originally thought this was an ecchi and I already had the predetermination of what I expected the show to be. But hey, I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm willing to see if it could actually bring something to the table that is actually quite interesting. But I also will say that it doesn't necessarily have to do that in order for me to have fun with it. If I just have fun with it, that's fine. And I'm okay with that. I am expecting With You, I Love Will Make It Through to be an insane, funny little comedy. Just watching the trailers for this thing, it seems like it's just gonna be the most insane, goofiest shit you'll ever seen. And it seems like the dude, the love interest, is the only actual wolfman in the world. So that's probably gonna play its own shenanigans. And I wonder if people are going to acknowledge that, if he's going to be the only wolfman, or if it's just kind of one of those like, oh yeah, like this is totally normal and the girl's the only one that recognizes it. Like I would actually love it to get to the point where you see them maybe go to the dude's house, having dinner with the family he has, and it's just two normal parents. That makes you even question even more how the wolf dude became the wolf dude. And then you ask typical questions of like, oh, is it a foreign exchange student? Are you housing him? Is it a family friend that lost his family? Is it a family member that decided to live with you? And it's like, oh no, he's not biological son. It's like, how does that happen? How do you do these things? Maybe I'm hyping the show up a little bit too much. Maybe nothing I said will actually do it, and it will just be a random, just normal ass romance with just a random ass wolf dude. But if it is, what missed opportunity to just make a romance with so many silly, dumb gags. And it does seem like the show will lean into the silly, dumb jokes. So I really hope that it does that, because that's fun. That seems like it'll be a fun thing. My God, I want that. I want that level of absurdity from this. Give it to me, please. I'm dying for it. I am dying for it, and I will enjoy it with all of my heart. You know, I don't know what it is, but post-apocalyptic anime recently in the past couple of years has been really hitting, honestly. Two examples that I can think of off the top of my head is Zom 100 and Apocalypse Hotel. Two anime that are phenomenal within its own right. So of course you gotta assume the fact that I've gotta pick up the anime touring after the apocalypse. An anime that I think is going to be really cool to watch this season. And honestly, I'm expecting two different types of things from this. Either one, it's going to be an anime where it's just the two girls going through Japan and just exploring the ruins of a forgotten city and just kind of enjoying the fact that they're still alive after the apocalypse, still doing the little survival tactics stuff, but just enjoying life now that they don't really have any responsibilities anymore. Or two, it's them still going around, but they're struggling trying to survive. Kind of reminiscing over the fact of the apocalypse and how that kind of crushed civilization and how being in a post-apocalyptic state, you know, can sometimes be depressing and sometimes even worse than, you know, not existing anymore. This anime has a lot of potential behind it, and I can't wait to see how it approaches either two of those things, or maybe a third thing that I just couldn't comprehend that it actually pops out with. And honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I am just genuinely excited to watch this. So I'm definitely going to be looking very closely to touring after the apocalypse. I really want Alma Wants to Be a Family to be really good. Now I know back and forth, maybe there will, maybe it will, different aspects, stuff like that. No, I just want this to be good. I want this to be able to explore the difficulties of the family aspect and how putting a robotic girl in that is going to change the whole dynamic. I want to see how both the scientists react. I want to see how Alma reacts. I want to see how Alma reacts to their relationship. I want to know how the scientists are going to react to Alma. There is so much here, and I kind of don't want this to be a goofy haha show. I think with the way they approach it, of this robot girl is created by these two scientists, and obviously that sparks something between them, and that goes back and forth and all that stuff, and even the girl that dresses exactly what they are, yeah, that sets up a lot of exploration for some really cool things, for some really cool character dynamics in certain type of societal positions that I think would be really cool. And listen, I'm not saying you gotta turn to Aristotle and create this new profound philosophy that you have to create. I'm not saying that at all. Just explore this a little bit. Let's go ahead and explore the dynamics of the robot girl being part of the family, the dynamics of maybe having the robot girl as a family, the concept of this weird scientist creation stuff and how that all works. And I'm not gonna lie, if it is kind of a goofy haha anime, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed. Actually, I did just check, and one of the tags is comedy, so I'm not getting my hopes up too much, but I'm also not gonna go ahead and completely give up. I guess we can still add comedy onto this, and you can still do that, but I will lower my expectations just a little bit. Did anybody else know that this existed? Because I didn't. So apparently this anime is based on the mobile RPG called Disney Twisted Wonderland, hence why the anime is also called Disney Twisted Wonderland. I'm not saying the rest of that because I refuse to find out how to pronounce that name. And you know, I genuinely thought that this was just going to be kind of a throwaway type anime. I thought they were just making this and they just gave the license to Disney to do some stuff and whatever. But this isn't a Disney IP that's just being remade into a Disney product. This isn't, you know, them licensing out an anime and to put on a streaming service like they did with Bleach. This is, for all intents and purposes, an original Disney anime. And no one's talking about it. Now, I will admit, maybe this has something to do with the fact that said anime had a previous anime come out sometime around 2020 or 2021, and it didn't receive pretty good reception, especially the fact that 2020 and 2021 was that big boon of anime during COVID. So the fact that, you know, no one's really talking about it is still kind of baffling to me. I mean, Disney having its own mobile gacha-esque game is not too surprising because I feel like they've had something like this before, but for them to actually make it into an anime with somewhat original characters, and some of them are based off of existing IPs or a mixed match of existing IPs, but for all intents and purposes, you don't find these characters anywhere else other than the mobile game that the anime is based off of. And yeah, it's still being made by Aniplex and not inside of Disney Studios, but with everything said and done and with all of the naming convention it has, yeah, this is an original Disney anime. And even back then, I feel like this should be just a bigger deal. Like, it's not like Disney and anime don't have some crossover. It's all animation and there's a lot of things that, you know, cross over with it. So the fact that Disney putting out any form of anime with any form of original characters isn't being talked about more is insane. And I think the fact that's even more insane is the fact that this isn't the only Disney product that we have this season. Because the second Disney-related anime thing is Star Wars Visions 3. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize we were at 3. I didn't even realize 2 came out like a couple of years ago. I feel bad about that. Now, of course, Star Wars Visions is different from Disney Twisted Wonderland, because Twisted Wonderland is, for more or less intents and purposes, its own thing, while Star Wars Visions is just a bunch of studios being given the Star Wars IP to make their non-canon stories of. And usually when it comes to Star Wars fan base, if something isn't canon or isn't affecting the overall lore for the world, it's probably not gonna get a lot of attention. I mean, regardless though, it's still Disney putting out 2 different anime, which is kind of insane to think about. Again, it's not them making it, of course. Aniplex is making the Disney Twisted Wonderland, and they get a bunch of different studios to do Star Wars Visions. But it's still the fact that Disney themselves is putting out like 2 anime and nobody's talking about it. Do you understand why I'm baffled about that? This is Disney. This isn't some just random studio or some random entertainment company that's coming out of the woodworks out of nowhere. This is one of, if not the biggest entertainment conglomerate in the world, and it's releasing anime that nobody's talking about. Not even a brush or a whisper or a wind. And what's even crazier is that the Twisted Wonderland stuff, going back to that for a second, does have an active fan base. Well, somewhat semi-active. There's still enough people that I feel like everything could still be warranted, as this should get more attention than it is, but we're past that. We're on Star Wars Vision now. Another big part where I feel like this doesn't get as much traction as I feel like it should is the fact that it is an anthology series where, you know, sometimes when it's an anthology series, you know, don't use that. Another big reason why I feel like this doesn't get as much attention as I feel like it should is because it's an anthology series. Again, it's all individual stories per episode that are non-canon to the actual Star Wars universe. On top of it being an anthology series, there's not really anything meaty that anyone can really grab on. If anything, you can jump into any of the Star Wars Vision episodes from the past 3 seasons and you'd be fine. You don't have to really follow any through line or actually concentrate on anything that's going on other than the one episode that you're watching. So, worst case scenario, you don't have to watch the entire season. You can just kind of pick and choose the episodes that you actually like watching. Again, I just think that Disney putting out these anime should be a bigger deal, but I guess that's just me. And the final anime that we have on our watch list for fall of 2025 is Tatsuki Fujimoto's 1726. And it's funny because on top of getting 2 Disney projects, we're also getting 2 anthology series, as Tatsuki Fujimoto is in fact an anthology series. I will admit all the episodes that they have seem really, really cool. All the artistic choices and the crazy animations and crazy stories that they're going to have. This seems like it's going to be a very fun watch. They do have a big description of everything, but I only just found it while I was recording to just check to make sure I have everything right on the information, and realizing there were blocks and blocks and blocks of text for the description of the shows. But I'm choosing to stay out of it because, you know what? I want to go into this blind. It's an anthology series, so it's not something I gotta like really, you know, lock in for 8 episodes in. It's all individual stories for each episode, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of enjoy myself with this one. The animation looks cool, the premises look fun, so I'm very fascinated to see how all of these studios go ahead and do their thing. And as usual, we have reached the end of the fall 2025 watch list, so let's go ahead and talk about the 10 anime that we are going to be watching weekly. And those 10 anime that are going to be the weekly watch for 2025 fall season is One Punch Man Season 3, Spy X Family Season 3, Sanda, Gnosia, Yano-Kun's Ordinary Days Off, May I Ask for One Final Thing, Touring After the Apocalypse, This Monster Wants to Eat Me, Chizote is in a Ramune bottle, and Alma Wants to Be a Family. Those are going to be the 10 anime that I'm going to review weekly, and also this gives me the time to talk about some changes, as unfortunately after a few years of doing it, I will not be doing the Anime Cavalcade anymore. Now, if you are a subscriber or a fan of this channel, you would have known that I'm doing a new podcast called the Manga Cavalcade that is going to be on this channel, mainly because me doing a anime show and then doing the reviews felt a bit kind of redundant, so manga is going to be for that show from here on out. And the reviews are going to be moved to shorts, because let's face it, I could probably do what I did in that hour in about 3 minutes, separated properly and separated equally, which is what I'm going to do. So if you want to go ahead and see me keep talking about that, I'm definitely going to move that to the shorts section of my channel. So the shorts fans, you're going to get a lot more content than usual starting in the fall. But with that being said, thank you all for stopping by and watching my fall 2025 watch list. I hope you guys have something to watch this season, and hey, let me know if there's anything you think I should be watching during 2025. Maybe there's something that you think I missed. Maybe there's something you think I might have to take a chance on. Let me know in the comments below, and if you like the watch list and the list that I prepared for today, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe to the channel for more reviews, as we are doing them weekly now. We're doing weekly uploads. We've been 2 months consistently, and we are balling on it. So go ahead, support your boy, help me grow, finally get monetized, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one.
I'm like so gay.